Ox Alpha, the model with no name. On August 20th, 2026, a new AI model appeared on the developer platform OpenRouter under a strange, anonymous label, Stealth/Ox Alpha. No company name, no launch announcement, no press release, just a model live and free to use. Before the mystery, let's cover what's actually confirmed about this thing. Ox Alpha carries a massive 1048576 token context window large enough to load an entire codebase into a single prompt. It accepts text, image, and video input with tool calling and structured output support. It was offered completely free during a roughly 1-week preview window. Most production AI models handle somewhere between 8,000 and 200,000 tokens. Ox Alpha's context window is over 1 million, a different category of tool entirely. And here's the number that got everyone's attention. Both input and output tokens were priced at $0 during the preview, and the provider claimed capacity of up to 100 trillion tokens a day. On top of the huge context window, Ox Alpha can generate up to 131,000 output tokens in a single response, enough for a full report or several complete code files at once. Unlike most text-first coding models, Ox Alpha reads text, images, and video in the same prompt, opening the door to tasks like analyzing screenshots, diagrams, and screen recordings alongside code. The model didn't sit quietly for long. Within the first 48 hours, coding agents had already pushed billions of tokens through Ox Alpha real production traffic, not just curious testers. Within a day of launch, independent tester Ben Davis ran Ox Alpha through a coding benchmark called DeepSWE and posted results that sent the AI community into a frenzy. Here's the exact comparison that went viral across social media. In a 10-task sample, Ox Alpha scored 80%, beating every named competitor. Claude Fable 5 landed at 65% in the same test. GLM 5.3, a known model, came in at 62%. GPT-5.6 Soul trailed the pack at 52%, at least in this small sample. AI Insider has tweeted on X the following. Ran this thing through 10 DeepSWE tasks. GPT-5.6 Sol, 52%. Faible, hot 100 Whatever the hell this is, 80%. I'm very confused. That sentiment captured the entire mood of the AI community for about 48 hours straight, until people started asking harder questions about sample size. DeepSWE wasn't the only test people ran. A separate benchmark called King Bench told a similar story. GLM 5.3, the model mini suspect, is Ox Alpha's true identity, scored roughly 91% on King Bench. Ox Alpha itself landed close behind at about 88%, reinforcing the theory that the two are closely related. The number that mattered most in this entire story wasn't a percentage, it was the sample size hiding behind it. Here's the detail that got buried under all the hype. The viral 80% score came from just 10 tasks, not the full 91 repository DeepSWE suite. Neither OpenRouter nor the independent tracker Artificial Analysis has published any official benchmark for the model at all. A later full 113 task run put Ox Alpha's real score closer to 63%, roughly tied with GPT-5.6 Soul. So let's put the viral number next to the real one. The number that went viral came from a tiny 10-task sample showing an 80% pass rate. The full 113 task benchmark told a very different story, closer to 63%. At 10 tasks, Ox Alpha looked like it was demolishing GPT-5.6 Soul. At full scale, it's roughly tied with it, a strong result, but not the earthquake headline suggested. AI Insider has tweeted on X the following. A 10-task benchmark going viral is not a leaderboard. Wait for the full suite before crowning anything the new king of coding. That skepticism turned out to be exactly right once the larger benchmark run came in. With no company willing to claim it, developers turned to digital forensics, picking apart tokenizer patterns, error codes, and even the backend language of its server logs. Here's exactly what the forensics turned up. A Java stack trace surfaced referencing internal API classes matching a known Chinese AI labs infrastructure. An identical error code, numbered 1214, matched the exact dialect used by existing GLM models on OpenRouter. Tokenizer testing matched 30 out of 30 probes against Zhipu AI's GLM 5.3 model. Topping the suspect list is Zhipu AI, whose GLM 5.3 model shares a tokenizer error codes and backend fingerprints with Ox Alpha almost perfectly. Investigators didn't just point fingers at Zhipu, they crossed several major labs off the list entirely. Fingerprinting evidence ruled out Xiaomi's MIMO lineup, DeepSeek, and Alibaba's Quinn models entirely. Google XAI, OpenAI, and Anthropic were also ruled out, narrowing the field down almost entirely to one name. Independent researcher Ben Davis led much of the public investigation cross-referencing video encoder behavior, comparing emoji usage patterns and outputs, and documenting every finding publicly as he went. Independent researcher Ben Davis put a number on his own confidence. Davis stated he was 99% certain the model belongs to Zhipu AI's GLM-5.6 family, based on the combined forensic evidence. Zhipu AI, known publicly as Z.AI, is the Chinese lab behind the GLM model family. It has a documented history of testing unreleased models through anonymous stealth channels before a formal reveal. Zhipu has not confirmed or denied building Ox Alpha. OpenRouter still listed under the generic name Stealth. That silence isn't unusual, it's actually the pattern. Every stealth model before this one played out the same way. Side by side, the fingerprints are almost impossible to ignore. Tokenizer behavior, error dialects, and even emoji usage patterns all point the same direction. None of this evidence is a signed confession, but 3 independent fingerprints pointing the same way is hard to dismiss. Stealth models almost always get confirmed eventually. The only real question left is timing. Ox Alpha isn't a one-off. It's reportedly the 5th anonymous model release in just 6 months. Pony Alpha followed the exact same path back in February, an anonymous debut confirmed as a Zhipu model within about 5 days. Hunter Alpha and Healer Alpha, 2 earlier stealth releases, were later revealed to be models from Xiaomi's MIMO lineup. So why would a major AI lab release a model anonymously instead of just announcing it? A stealth launch gets you real usage data and hype for free with zero reputational risk if it underperforms. It's worth noting the platform hosting this mystery model is itself in the middle of a huge story. Stripe has reportedly agreed to acquire OpenRouter, the router that connects developers to over 400 AI models for more than $7 billion. Despite the mystery, developers aren't waiting around for an official reveal. Coding agents including Claude Code, Hermes Agent, and tools from Noose Research and the Z Editor are already routing real billions of tokens production traffic through Ox Alpha. Developers have already used the free preview to run physics simulations, generate 3D scenes, and stress test large code bases, all before anyone officially knows who built the model. Some testers report Ox Alpha applies noticeably fewer safety filters than major commercial models, combined with total anonymity that raises real oversight questions. There's no company to hold accountable if it's misused. That's the trade-off of testing raw power with zero transparency. Here's the part every developer testing this model needs to actually read. The free preview announcement advertises zero data retention, but the platform's own stealth model terms describe prompts and completions as retained, just not used for training. Because the provider is anonymous, there is no company to hold accountable if that policy changes. Multiple testers advise against pasting passwords, personal data, or proprietary code into the model during the preview. Given everything we just covered, we wanted to know where developers actually stand. Only 29% say they'd run proprietary or sensitive code through an unverified anonymous model. 71% say the free price tag isn't worth the unknown data risk. For most developers, capability alone isn't enough to earn that trust. AI Insider has tweeted on X the following: Ox Alpha is legitimately good. Just don't confuse free and anonymous with safe for your company's codebase. That's the balance most of the developer community has landed on now that the initial hype has faded. Strip away the mystery, and the marketing in Ox Alpha lands as a genuinely strong coding model, roughly tied with GPT-5.6 rather than the benchmark-crushing outlier the first headlines promised. Here's the more honest picture once the full benchmark suite is factored in. Claude Opus 5 leads the full leaderboard at roughly 74%. GPT-5.6 sits close behind at about 73%. Claude Fable 5 lands around 70% on the complete suite. Ox Alpha comes in at roughly 63% solid, but well behind the frontier leaders at full scale. After all the forensic evidence, we asked the community where they landed. 74% say the forensic evidence is convincing enough to call it Zhipu's GLM 5.3. 26% are holding out for an official confirmation before making the call. Either way, an official reveal should settle it soon. Ox Alpha is a real capable model, not a hoax. But the 80% headline was never the full story. Small benchmark samples are made to go viral, not to inform. Treat any stealth model claim as a preview, not a verdict. So what happens next? The free preview window is set to close around August 27th, and if the pattern from prior stealth launches hold, an official reveal with a name, a price, and real terms should follow shortly after. Let's bring it all together before we close out. A massive, free multimodal model appeared overnight with no company attached to it. Once the full benchmark numbers came in, it settled in among the frontier leaders. Impressive, but not the giant slayer the first headlines claimed. Whether Ox Alpha turns out to be GLM 5.3 Vision, a Flash variant, or something else entirely, one thing is already clear. In 2026, the biggest AI story of the week can come from a model that doesn't even have a name yet.